mate.
Oh man, where'd you get that outfit? You can't go dressing up as a goddamn Nazi, you cracker ass.
Why not? I mean, if it's good enough for Lemmy, Keith Richards, and Len.
Far Cry is one of those games that has beautiful places to go, beautiful things to do, and even more, a beautiful story. And, you know, Far Cry 6 is one of those games that really shows off how good a game could be. But, in my opinion, I do not think that the main character is, you know, a good enough main character. Don't get me wrong, you know, I love Danny Ross. Great character, you know, but whenever we're talking about, you know, Far Cry 6, I think that there could actually be a better main character right in front of us. And you might be wondering, who might it be? Who might be this main character that could be better than the man himself? And I can tell you that it is Diego. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my god, what is this big fat motherfucker talking about? This scrawny ass stickman kid, bruh, coming out here saying that he could be the next Jason Brody. And I know, I sound crazy, but hear me out, okay? Hear me out before, you know, I see you guys in the comments, you keyboard warriors. Just hear me out, okay? So, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show this clip. There's this clip in the first official Far Cry trailer. I'm gonna go ahead and show that.
Presidente. And our people, they do not know how to be happy. They are torn apart by opinions, noise, indecision, strangled by their own freedoms. And even if you have love in your heart, even if you want what's best for them, if you only want to save them from themselves, they will hate you, Diego. Everything you say, do, believe, will be wrong. They will answer you with screams, call you evil, a monster, and give you this. So you tell me, are you evil? Are you a monster? Because our country is like this grenade, except it has two basic parts. Our people and you must clutch them nice and tight, or we all go boom. Understand now. Prove it.
So when I first seen that trailer, you know, my original thoughts were, oh, okay, you know, so Diego's gonna go against his dad, you know, and take back Yara, and that did not happen, and I got Danny. And so I wasn't that unhappy, you know, the game was still pretty cool, still pretty fun. Left with this sad, deep hole. And so I kind of thought about it for a while, and I thought about it, and I thought, well, I could probably make a better script for, you know, this reimagined idea of Far Cry 6. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. So if you guys would sit back and give me a few minutes to explain the story. So the game starts out completely different. So first off, you know, Diego's in this training sequence with, like, his three older brothers. Yeah, that's right. Instead of them being officers that you gotta, you know, kill, it's three older half-brothers, right? And so he's training with them. He's doing all this stuff. He's a little bit older now, you know. He's doing all that kind of stuff. You know, the first brother is really cold, collected, military type of guy. The second oldest brother is this, you know, this black market runner, this mercenary guy, you know. And then the third oldest brother is like this guy who's brainwashing people with the media, you know, really big in propaganda and stuff like that. And so, you know, it kind of takes it to Diego being the compassionate one, you know, the one who's not really sure yet of whether or not his dad is doing right or not. But it's still kind of weak. But to make a long story short, I'm gonna go ahead and get into like the full thing. So the game opens up, and you know, Diego is going to this compound with the oldest brother, the military enforcer one, and you know, the brother is kind of making fun of him for being soft, you know, kind of setting him up for the family underdog, you know. And so eventually, you know, he meets Clara, and you know, she's kind of like, yeah, your dad's a fucking dickhead, and he's kind of like, oh really, well thank you. And you know, so he does all that shit, and she recruits him. And so eventually Anton finds out, and Anton Castillo is pissed. I mean, this guy is fucking off the walls, pissed off, you know. And so what he does is he kills her right in front of him, and he's like, yeah, look what you made me do. And then he's like, oh dad, you're kind of a dick. And so he goes on his, you know, little adventure arc. And so first up, you know, he goes, frees a couple camps, does this, does that, learns from Juan, and does all that type of stuff, right? Really cool, really fun stuff. And then he starts doing more and more and more, until eventually they go to take the camp that his oldest brother's at. And so he has a choice to kill his older brother, and he thinks about it. And before he gets the chance to say no, Juan shoots him right in the fucking head. I mean, just dead, right? And he, you know, Diego thinks about it for a minute, and he's like, wow, this really is the only way to free Yara. So he goes and he kills all of his brothers. And then towards the end of the game, you know, you get a choice. You get a choice to spare Castillo or not. And by the end of the game, you know, if you end up killing Castillo, then you kind of rise to power, you know. You make everything better, but only better in your eyes and not for everybody else, you know. And if you decide not to kill Castillo, then he kills you anyways. He kills you anyways, and he's like, yeah, you always was a pussy. And so, you know, then bad shit happens. But I think that it'd be a lot better to finally see, you know, like a family type of thing going on in Far Cry, you know. And I think that it would have a lot more feeling in the games, you know. So that's kind of my own opinion, and where I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Far Cry 7 gonna be like on a timer and shit. I don't know if that's true or but that's what I heard, you know. And I've heard a lot of stuff about it's gonna be like a family being kidnapped and just a bunch of crazy shit. I think that if Far Cry 7 isn't as good as 3, we could possibly lose one of the biggest franchises that Ubisoft has ever made. I mean, I go out and I talk to my friends, you know, like we'll sit at lunch, or we'll, you know, be hanging out, and we'll talk about games that we like or games that we play lately. And every time that I bring up Far Cry, it always slips under everybody's mind. They're like, what the fuck is that? You know, compared to like Watch Dogs or like, you know, Just Dance. Like, come on, these games are great. These games are good. You just have to put enough feeling into these games for them to put as much feeling into the people, you know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, Far Cry 7 had to be like one of the biggest maps, right, that we've had in a long time. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the history and the culture of the maps. But I think that it needed to do something different than what every single other Far Cry has been doing. So, with all that being said, that was my little deep dive. That was my little rant on, you know, how I feel about Far Cry. I will definitely start doing the second video for Far Cry 6 Part 2 probably tomorrow. Editing will probably finish around maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday, depending on how I feel. But with all that being said, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And thank you guys for all the support, for everything. You know, we really appreciate it. Jesus, if I could talk. And everything that you guys do. Thank you. And I will see you guys later.